the richest place on earth, and it's not what you think. What's up, everybody? Rick Fan here. Welcome to the Fan of Life channel, Fan of Life show. Thanks for stopping on in. Today, we're going to talk about a unique topic and a topic that people probably avoid because it does get a little sensitive. And that topic is the topic of fear. Anyone that tells you they are not fearful, they are either sociopaths or they are lying. So it's not a matter of not having fear, but a matter of changing the narrative around fear so it works for you. So before we jump into that, make sure you guys do the usual stuff. Hit subscribe, give it a like, share with your friends and family if you guys find it valuable, and please help grow this channel, and we'll continue to bring content like this to you on a weekly basis. So let's dive right into it. I know in my life, the topic of fear is usually something that we don't talk about, and partly in circles of men, we try not to talk about it because it's a macho thing and we live on our ego, and it's very, very scary, ironically, to be vulnerable enough to talk about fear. But the reality is this, guys. Fear is important because it's hardwired in us. If we didn't have fear hardwired in us, we probably would not have made it to where we are now. So it is important. Don't try to fight it. The trick is learn how to control the fear and change the narrative around it so that it can benefit you. But before we do that, let's talk about what fear typically is perceived as. It's perceived as someone that is being weak if you're fearful. It's perceived as something negative, and it's perceived as something that really hinders you in life. And all those things possibly can be true. But what I want to acknowledge is that fear is helpful and useful as well too. I love MMA and I love boxing. And one of the best things I've ever heard in terms of fighting is this, is you have to compare fear like fire. Because fire, when it controls you and it consumes you, it can burn your house down. It can take everything away from you. But when you control it and you manage fire, it's one of the most important things in the world, right? Fire keeps you warm, it cooks your food. Much like fire, if you let fear consume you, it can take everything away from you. It can hinder your life. If nothing else, figuratively, but really literally as well too. So for me, I've learned to not really push fear away. Learn to accept that fear is going to be a part of my life. But just like anything else, it's about perspective. So for me, and my hope for you as well, is to accept fear and change what you are fearful of. Here's a quick insight. Studies have shown over and over again that most fear in life, especially in our Western world, is self-imposed. In other words, most of the fear that we have are in our minds that will never come to fruition. When it does occur, it doesn't go as severe as you had thought it originally. And I can attest to that in my own personal life, because throughout my years of competition, trying to build a career, and now trying to build a private enterprise, the fear have always been part of all those scenarios. And the fear that I have, that the things that I told myself and the stories that I've had in my mind, in reality, never even came close. Even in the worst of moments, it never came close to what I had played out in my mind. And I hope that if you guys are introspective and you think about it, that you will find that to be true in your life as well too. If you're going to have to live with fear, fear that you don't live up to your potential, fear that you're not setting a good example for your loved ones, fear that you have much to contribute to society, but you're holding back, therefore you're shortchanging society. And for me, the biggest one is fear of regret. And I know in this tangible world, sometimes it's hard to focus on the non-tangibles. So those fears that I just listed out, especially the fear of regret, is something that isn't tangible. But I promise you, at the end of it all, when it's all said and done, it will overshadow any fear you may have. The fear of regret will overshadow any fear of losing money, any fear of being embarrassed, any fear of failure. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I hope for you in your life, you find a way to accept and compartmentalize your fear and turn it so that it can be a motivating factor, much like the fire that keeps you warm. the fire that cooks your food. So at the beginning of the video, I told you I was going to share with you the richest place on earth. And we took a detour because really the focus was about fear. But keeping with my promise, I am going to share that right now. And I will warn you, it's not what you think, because the richest place on earth is not any prime beachfront property. It is definitely not any diamond mines or oil-rich fields. The richest place on earth, you guys, is the graveyard. And I learned this from one of my mentors of many years, listening to him speak, reading his books, Les Brown, and he describes it beautifully. So I'm going to share this with you now. I'll read it because I don't want to mess it up. The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take the first step, keep with the problem, or determined to carry out their dream. Don't let that be you, because a life worth living is a life worth creating a legacy for. And it doesn't mean you become a billionaire. It doesn't mean you need 1 million followers. What it does mean is you live the life of your potential, of your calling, if possible. And whatever it is that you contribute to society, that becomes your legacy. So if you're going to be fearful of something, be fearful of not living up to your potential and be fearful of a life of regret. Don't contribute your riches to the graveyard. Until next time, you guys, hope to hear from you soon. I'll bring more videos just like this. Please continue to share. Give a like, give me some comments. Let's have a chat. Let's discuss the topic. And until next time, live life to your full potential, guys. Take care.